Hey everyone, and welcome back to this class. This is a short lecture to explain that you are free to use whichever version of Python you want in this course. Just one side note before we begin. While I've updated all the code in the repository to work with Python 3, you still need to git pull to ensure that you have the latest version. I know that some people fork the repo on GitHub, but I strongly recommend not doing this as you won't get the latest updates as easily. If you do have a fork, consider just getting rid of it, or at least make sure you pull the latest changes often. A lot of people consider Python 3 to be the new version of Python, and therefore it's the one everyone should use, but that is a very limited perspective. First, Python 3 is actually not that new. In fact, at the time this lecture was made, 2018, Python 3 is almost 10 years old. In fact, Python 2.6 was released at the same time as Python 3, so Python 2.6 and Python 3.0 are actually the same age. Some people think that because 3 is a bigger number than 2, that means we should use 3. Of course, you can see why this is a somewhat superficial way of reasoning. The bigger issue is this. If you join a large company using Python today, and they built their technology stack many years ago, they are probably using Python 2. And if you're in a large company, it's not easy to just recreate your entire codebase. That might take months or years of effort. No reasonable company that makes millions of dollars per day is going to halt their operations just so they can switch Python versions. Consider your choices if you are a manager or a business owner. You have a list of things to get done. Your clients want these things done, and they're going to pay you lots of money to get them done. So if you have a choice between your engineers working on something that will make money versus working on something where you not only get paid no money, but that actually costs you money because you have to pay the engineers to do the work, which are you going to choose? Most people I know would choose the option to continue making money. And so for better or worse, a lot of folks are still using Python 2. That means if you join such a company, you'll be forced to learn Python 2 syntax. There will simply be no way around you having to learn Python 2. At the same time, the differences between Python 2 and Python 3 are usually trivial. For example, instead of print with a space after it, print works like a function, so it has to have parentheses. Another example is that we use range instead of xrange, which both return generators rather than lists. In Python 2, range returns a list, which can be inefficient, so we try not to use that when we're using Python 2. In Python 2, division using a slash can do different things depending on what its arguments are. So for example, if both the numerator and denominator are integers, then the result will be an integer. But if at least one argument is a float, then the result will be a float. This is the same way division works in C-style languages, so it's pretty typical behavior. In Python 3, a slash always does float division, so even if your numerator and denominator are both integers, the result will be a float. If you want to do integer division, you have to use a double slash. Other examples are given on this page on my website, lazyprogrammer.me/Python 2 to 3 tips. Of course, aside from these things, there are a lot more less frequent discrepancies you may come across. So if you come across something that doesn't work, you're encouraged to use the Q&A since that is the best place for you to get help. However, you most likely won't need help since the changes are trivial 99% of the time. So there's no need to give up if you see that the code you're working with is for Python 2 and not Python 3. Most likely, just a few lines need to be changed as per the error messages you get, and you'll be up and running in no time.